Welcome back to Big Nick's Meats and Treats. Today I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on keeping your pellet grills running good. I currently have two pellet grills, both made by Grilla. These are both silverbacks. This was a silverback original that I bought 5 years ago. This is a silverback pro that I bought 4 years ago, and I've since outfitted with the Wi-Fi controller. I've had virtually no problems with these pellet grills. They're excellent build construction and really good customer service. And part of what keeps them running good is I use quality pellets. So I only use Bear Mountain pellets. These are 100% natural hardwood. They taste like they're supposed to. They're not flavored with oils or scents. The ash level is very good, and they're not full of sawdust, and that helps keep these things from getting all gummed up and your meat tasting the way it's supposed to. I'm going to clean one of these grills here, and I'll show you the process on how I do that. So let me get that started and we'll see you in a sec. So the first thing I do before I even open this up to get the ash out and stuff is I scrub the grate. And I bought this at Cabela's. It's not wire brush. It's some sort of natural or organic material that won't kill you if you actually eat a bristle. So I scrub the top of it real good with this, and that gets all the crumbs down on top of the foil that I'm going to dispose of. And I use this little kickstand that Grilla made for these, which holds the grate up, and then I'll do the bottom too, and that gets all the loose stuff off. You want to get rid of as much of that grease as possible so you don't have fires and stuff. So I just loosely knock that all off. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the drip pan out, and I'm sure most of you are doing this already, but you should cover your drip pan in heavy duty foil. I personally do 2 layers of heavy duty foil on this, and I replace this and clean the grills every 10 to 12 hours. Generally about every 10 hours of use, I will do a cleaning process on the grills. The specs say you don't have to do it that much, but just to keep them running good, that's how often I do it. So I'm going to go ahead and tear this foil off and get some new foil on there. We'll see you in a second. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the heat deflector out, and I'm going to get ready to vacuum. And a lot of guys will use a shop vac out here, and I don't like to get all that ash and grease and everything in my shop vac. So I bought this vacuum that attaches to a 5-gallon bucket. It's called a bucket head, and you can get it at your major box stores. It just snaps right onto a 5-gallon bucket, and this works perfect for cleaning the grills. I keep it out here by the grills, and that's all I use it for. So I'm going to go ahead and vacuum this out, and we'll see you in a second. So when I vacuum this out, I set the bucket and the bucket head on the shelf here, and I want to make sure that I clean out the entire firebox area, down inside where the firepot is, all around the firepot. You can see there's quite a bit of ash buildup in there, and some carbon off of the drip pan and the heat deflector. So I'm going to go ahead and vacuum that all up, and we'll see you in a second. All right, I put 2 layers of heavy duty foil on the drip pan, got that back in there, got the grate back down. So now I'd like to talk to you a little bit about cleaning the outside. Now this is pretty tricky because depending on the material that they use to finish the smokers, certain chemicals might not work good. So what I found that works really good on the stainless steel is this LA Totally Awesome. The thing that's totally awesome about this is it costs $1. You buy this at the dollar store, and it works fantastic on the stainless steel, getting the smoke stains off and grease, but don't get it on your powder coating. It'll fade your powder coating, so just use it on the stainless steel stuff. And I usually let it sit there a little bit, and then I wipe it off. For the powder coating stuff, I just use Simple Green because it's non-toxic, it's not super harsh. You'll get drips down on the powder coating and stuff, and this works pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's the only thing I found that doesn't fade the powder coating and stuff, so I really like that on the outside. So I've been letting it sit there on a little bit, and now I just use a good quality rag, and you can see it takes the smoke stains off real good on the stainless steel. I really like it on the stainless. And if you can't get it off the first try, just put another coat on there. This will keep the stainless looking real nice, and the stuff only costs $1. It doesn't do real well in cold temperatures though, so be careful about leaving it outdoors in the winter time. It gets kind of gummy and jelly, so that didn't work very good for me this winter. Okay, one of the other things I do too to help minimize the disaster that's inside here, especially when you do chicken and stuff, is I went to Costco. I spent 30 bucks on this. It's a grill pan basically that you can put in the smoker, and anything that's going to make a mess in the smoker, I will cook on here. That will minimize the amount of grease and stuff that's going in the smoker. Especially when you're doing poultry, you don't want to have a fire. So if you're cooking a chicken in there right on the grate, and you let all those drippings go on the drip pan, and then you come out the next day and you want to sear some steaks at 500 degrees, you're going to have a fire. So unless you clean every time you do chicken, you're going to have a fire if you're going to cook hot. So if you use something like this, the grease doesn't go down in the barbecue. You can capture all that grease, and then I just pour it in a soup can, and then you don't have all that grease inside your smoker. Okay. Also, if I'm doing pork butts or something else, you can just buy these cheap aluminum pans and put a cookie rack on there. That will catch all the grease, and that'll also help minimize the amount of mess that's inside your smoker. So those are just easy things that you can do to minimize the amount of mess that you have. We'll see you in a sec. One more note on pellets. So pellets are not designed to be left in your hopper for months and months on end and not being used. They're made of compressed wood, and if you leave them out in a damp environment, even with just ambient moisture, they will collect moisture over time, and they won't burn hot or they won't burn at all. So don't leave pellets in there for months and months on end. If you're not smoking regularly, dump the pellets out and get yourself one of these buckets at Home Depot. Get the black lid. I think I paid $5 or $6 for the bucket and the lid. They're airtight. That'll hold about 30 pounds of pellets. Put a label on there. Tell yourself what kind of pellets are in there, and just put in what you need when you're going to cook. Okay? If you smoke all the time, you don't need to worry about it as far as rotating the hopper, because you're burning through it fast enough. But don't open a bag of pellets and just leave it open, because they'll collect moisture. Also, burn back is a common thing with pellet grills. What burn back is when you're cooking at high temperatures between 400 and 500 degrees, and you go to turn it off, most of them have a 5-minute shutdown. Well, in that 5 minutes, what's in the burn pot doesn't get burned up, and so you'll have burn back going all the way into the auger and have smoke coming out of your hopper. A good way to prevent that: turn your smoker down to 250 after you're done cooking and let it burn for 10 minutes or so at 250, then hit the shutdown procedure, and you won't have that burn back. Hopefully these are just a few good tips and tricks to help you keep your pellet grill running good. I'm going to be doing some beef ribs here in the next week or so. I'm going to put a like and subscribe thing down here on the bottom. Make sure you give me a like and subscribe. Until I do my next video, watch me work, baby. Watch me work.